Mexico is quietly setting up to be one of the most powerful economies in the Western Hemisphere. Most people in the US haven't even noticed yet. Today, we'll talk about why, how, and what's still standing in the way. Specifically, we're going to dive into why nearshoring is truly reshaping Mexico's economy, what China's decline as a manufacturing giant actually means for you, and why the window to get in here is getting smaller. For those of you that are new here, I'm Justin Keltner from Entrepreneur Expat, where we help freedom-minded professionals and entrepreneurs build global lives without sacrificing comfort, income, or security. If this resonates with you, hit that like button and subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss what's coming next. We also put out a free guide to moving to Mexico at entrepreneurexpat.com/Mexico. That's a really good starting point. And if you have $1 million or more in assets and want actual hands-on white glove support planning your move, you can apply for a free consultation at entrepreneurexpat.com/consult. So I was inspired to record this video based on a recent interview with one of our millionaire white glove relocation clients visiting our office here in Lake Chapala. We spoke about how one of the main reasons he wanted to move to Mexico was to be able to take part in a growing economy. This isn't something that you hear about much on the news, at least not yet, right? But Mexico is poised to be one of the largest and one of the most powerful economies in the Western Hemisphere in the very near future. And today, we're going to talk about why and how. Now, diving a little bit into our story, we didn't just move to Mexico. We actually started an entire business here. We helped them with their visas. We helped them with their paperwork. We even helped them find homes in Mexico, whether that's to purchase or to rent. We're partnered with different developer firms here on the ground. So we actually run a business on the ground in Mexico. We're very familiar with how business is done here. We're able to grow that business to six figures organically. And we get people to find us both online and walk into our physical office. We're able to get more traction in our business because of that. And since we're on the ground here, since we're doing business actively, we're constantly talking to people all the time, whether that's attorneys, accountants, CPAs, other real estate agents and developers. And we're hearing things like what's going on with nearshoring. We're hearing about how the economy is strengthening. We're hearing about different improvements in jobs numbers and things like that. Mexico also even has one of the fastest growing middle classes in the world. Some of the things specifically that have been happening in the last few years that really help Mexico's case are that you see other countries like China, for example, their average manufacturing wages have more than doubled over the past decade. And in fact, even looking back at 2024 data, public sector manufacturing wages averaged around $14,700 annually in China, with 22% of the population now over age 60. China's median age is now around 40.6 years compared to Mexico's median age of approximately 29 to 30. And because there's so much opportunity here, because there's an economy growing, not just because of nearshoring, but because of so many other factors, Mexico every single year has been tightening up the residency qualification criteria. We've done a bunch of videos on this channel. You can find them as well, where we talk about how some consulates may be potentially closed down, Mexican consulates in the US. We talk about how the fees have gone up effective just the beginning of this year of 2026, and they've actually doubled all of the immigration fees here, making it harder. And in fact, even just as recently as the middle of last year, they went away with a major program that previously had helped thousands of people get residency here, which was their RNE program, or the Residency Regularization Program. People were able to use that program and essentially fix their expired immigration status from inside the country, but the government shut it down because, frankly, they don't need that many more people coming here. If you've got money, if you've got talent, if you're going to start a business here, sure, you can be of value to the people, to the economy, to everything else here. But they don't need expats to move here like maybe they did 10 or 15 or 20 years ago to bring foreign money. The one thing that I did mention is that there are certainly infrastructure challenges. The current power grid capacity is struggling to keep pace with industrial demand. On a residential level, it's not that bad. I mean, we do have some power outages. It's like the rainy months, the rainy season, right? But even with that, maybe it's 20 minutes, 30 minutes here and there. We've got solar and backup batteries. It doesn't affect us too much. But when you look at industrial demand and the grid capacity for all of that, they definitely have a lot of work to do. There's also a lot of work that they need to do to get their stuff together for their transportation network. The build out is certainly underway, but it's incomplete. And as you may have heard, it doesn't affect people necessarily on a day to day basis, but there is certainly cartel control in certain regions. And that, in many cases, is a deterrent for some foreign investment. Now, my take is that it's just really not a unipolar world anymore. I think that the government in the United States is acting as if they're, really still the greatest things since sliced bread. And in reality, there are not that many things that the United States really is the number one country for, right? Definitely not number one in education, definitely not number one in healthcare, definitely not number one in safety. So we have to recognize that it just is not what it was before, right? The US is not automatically the strongest play going forward, whether that's to live, whether that's to start a business or anything else. And Mexico really is catching up, and it's catching up fast. One of the sort of commandments here, if you will, on this channel, or one of the values that we follow is like Wayne Gretzky says, you want to skate to where the puck is going. You don't want to be in a perhaps declining empire. You don't want to be in an empire on the way down. You want to see where the opportunity is moving towards the future and invest there. That's why we purchased land here. That's why we're investing in Mexico, investing in building businesses here, investing in partnering with businesses here. So a lot of people will say things like, everything is still okay in the US. The reality, though, is when things are finally not, quote, still okay in the US, it's going to be too late. Other countries won't let you in. The US perhaps won't even let you out. Those are really serious concerns that we think about on a regular basis, and that's why we're diversifying our passport portfolio so much. Nearshoring, as we're going in detail here, right? It's not that it's just a trend. It's not something that's just happening right now because of a single economic thing or an event or something that transpired. It's really a structural shift in how business is done and how manufacturing is done. And because of the proximity that Mexico has to the US, that's a huge asset that no other country can replicate. I mean, they share thousands of miles of a land border. They've got a young workforce, they've got a rising middle class, and there's a huge growing domestic economy as well. This is really the kind of opportunity people look back on and say, wow, I should have moved there earlier. So why might this matter to you? Well, if you're in your 30s like we are, or even your 40s, do you want to be in a growing economy? And Kurt actually is a couple decades older than we are, and he's still like, yeah, I want to be in a growing economy. This is our client that we interviewed the other day here in our office on the channel. But he says, I want to be in a growing economy. Even though I'm semi-retired, I want to have the opportunity to create value. I want to have the opportunity to really participate in an economy that's growing, not an economy that is shrinking, right? And first movers always get better pricing. They get better access to people, better networks. That's exactly what we're doing on the ground now. We're in a really small town of a few thousand people near Jocotepec, Jalisco. And we're already meeting the movers and shakers in the town. We're partnering with developers. You're going to see more content coming out very soon about this land that we purchased and those developers that we're helping to market the land and some of the opportunities here for expats to purchase. And for entrepreneurs, right, Mexico has actual demand. It's not just cheap living anymore. There's a lot of people wanting to move here because they want to start businesses because of all the demand locally, all the opportunities with import and export, all the opportunities with nearshoring. For people who want to buy real estate, it's still relatively early compared to what's coming. The prices, I mean, in some places like Ajijic, they've doubled, tripled, quadrupled in just the last several years, right? In less than a decade, you've seen like 3 or 4-fold increases in the prices of properties here. And if you're looking to build a plan B, I mean, the easy, quote unquote, version of that plan B being Mexico is really on its way out. It's really expiring. We've been talking for some time about how if you want to get your plan B in Mexico, now is the time to do so. It's almost not going to be accessible anymore to the vast, vast majority of people. Now, we do primarily work with high net worth individuals. If you are a high net worth individual, you want some white glove help with building that plan B and actually relocating here, we can absolutely help you. You can go to entrepreneurexpat.com/consult. But if perhaps you're not there yet, or you've maybe got a budding business, or you're just getting out of the corporate world, or maybe you're retiring and you don't have at least a couple million in the bank, well, what do you do? I mean, if you can still make that cutoff, even if you're not ready to move to Mexico and you want that plan B, well, move now if you have any way to do that. When I say move, I mean move on the opportunity. You don't necessarily have to move here yet, which is another really cool benefit of Mexico. Now, for investors, this is the Western Hemisphere's most interesting bet right now. There's a lot of investment. There's a lot of capital. Some of the things that people get wrong about China, which I think is really relevant here as well, is that they think that China's still a cheap option. It really isn't, right? That's why I think this nearshoring thing is really so big for Mexico, because China's manufacturing wages have risen substantially for decades, and now nearly a quarter of their population is over 60, which means that the workforce is shrinking. And there's also a ton of supply chain risks from distance, from geopolitics, and those risks are real and growing. And Mexico is not, this dangerous cartel-run place that perhaps it was a little bit more of, in decades past. It's actually quite safe. There's a lot of stability here, and there's a lot of opportunity to do business, whether it is nearshoring, whether it is an export business, whether it's real estate. There's just so much opportunity. So don't wait for the news cycle to validate what we're saying here, if they ever even will, because Western media tends to be focused on how the U.S. is the best and it's the greatest country. And if you want my opinion, they kind of give you a little bit of Stockholm syndrome, especially in California. And I'm from California, and man, I've seen that state just turn around into something that it's ugly. It's not fun, right? And move sooner rather than later. Research where business and manufacturing growth is clustering, where real estate prices are starting to go up and things like that. Man, I mean, the opportunity here, it's still there, and it's definitely still there if you've got money to invest. But you really got to act now, and think about what's happening with the U.S. Is it on an upward trajectory? Is it on a downward trajectory? I would argue that it's on a downward trajectory, and Mexico is exactly the opposite. So if this video gave you something to think about, please give it a like. That helps us out a ton. It helps us out with the algorithm a lot in terms of YouTube just recommending this video to other people, and it helps us with our mission of reaching 1 million entrepreneur expats and aspiring expats. And subscribe so that you catch the next one. Just hit that notification bell as well. Grab our free Mexico guide at entrepreneurexpat.com/Mexico. And if you do want that white glove support, if you've got 1 million or more in assets and you're actually ready to start planning this move, then applications for our white glove consultation, absolutely free if you qualify, are at entrepreneurexpat.com/consult. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being the best part of our community. We really love serving you. We love creating content for you. I mean, the reason that I do this and get up every single day at 5 a.m. and start planning videos and start getting content out there and build these partnerships and bring you guys behind the scenes on all of our real estate adventures and land development adventures and all that is because we really love doing this for you guys. So share this video if you haven't already with someone that you think can benefit, someone that perhaps wants to move to Mexico or elsewhere, and let us know what you think in the comments. We try to respond to every single comment that we get. Thanks again for joining us today on Entrepreneur Expat, and we'll see you again very soon.